Hey, welcome back to my channel. Gonna install this Radiomaster receiver into this quadcopter. This is the Rex80. This is a 2S whoop. Pretty much like a tank. It's a lot of fun. But I have an XM Plus receiver in here that's super sensitive, so every time I come near myself, it just fail safes. I've tried to update firmware and degrade firmware and just having a little bit of bad luck with it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this receiver in there. I have a video of this receiver kind of being set up with the transmitter and binding and all that. So if you want to check that out. But I'm going to go ahead and install this into this quadcopter. And if you have any questions about how this thing works or how to get it in here, let me know. First things first, I'm going to go ahead and take this apart and get the canopy off. So the Rex80's been kind of an interesting quadcopter. This thing is it's a lot of fun. It is a tank, though. It's really fast. It maneuvers. I would not call it agile, but it can take a beating. And it's been a lot of fun for me. I have the Mobula 6 now that I kind of primarily run with, but my daughter is kind of learning to fly, and this thing is perfect because it can handle. It can handle a heck of a hit, and I think it's on sale for like $50 or $60 or something. So not too bad. Let's try to get all these screws out of here. So it was kind of interesting. So here's the little D8 receiver, and I thought, for $7 or $8, I could get this. I got these from Buddy RC in Columbus, Ohio, and I think it was like $7 or $8. So I can replace this XM Plus. This XM Plus is like really sensitive. I don't know what the deal is with it. I've upgraded and downgraded firmware, and it still does it. This came with the quadcopter, and I don't know, it's kind of been frustrating because every time I would come near myself, it would just fail safe and fall out of the air. So I'm going to go ahead and get it replaced with this one. And then and also just having the Betafpv transmitter. Let's see if I can find that. So this transmitter is going to be great to fly this quad. So while my daughter's learning, her hands are smaller. I actually fly this with the simulator. I play liftoff, or goof around with liftoff, and this is the transmitter that everyone uses, so that's kind of nice. So it can do all kinds of good stuff. So I need to get this apart. This is an inherent issue with these VTX antennas. They waller around and come apart. Get him out of the way, and as you can see here, let me zoom in for you real quick. So as you can see, it's pretty simple to switch this out because you're only dealing with the three wires from that one. So we're just going to make this the same length. Basically, we're going to cut that to fit, and we're just going to solder those in. But on the Rex, we have the S bus, the 5-volt, and the ground. So that's all we're going to do. We're just going to do the same thing. So, and then with this XM Plus being really sensitive, I think I might use this on a quad that flies a little further away. So, also on the Rex80, I noticed that this VTX was bumping into this USB port. So I put a little piece of Gorilla adhesive on the edge of that. so it couldn't touch that ground, because this case is ground, and this VTX isn't covered with anything. It's free floating with no protection on it. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get that soldered up, and we'll go ahead and make sure that this works in Betaflight. I'll show you how to make sure that your modes are working. So let me go ahead and solder this up real quick. If you have any questions how to solder a 30 gauge wire to a flight controller, I have a video. I'll try to link in the description, or right here, have a little card up here. So I'll go ahead and get this soldered up real quick. Alright, so we have our Radiomaster D16 receiver in here. I also went ahead and reattached the UFL, well, not the UFL, I reattached the antenna for the VTX. Quite a pain that is. I was going to put a UFL on there, but I don't know. I ain't messing with that right now. So we'll get this all buttoned back up, and then we'll jump into Betaflight. Alright, so we have that buttoned up, and then you can see, I don't know if it's hard to see, but that VTX, the corner of that VTX rides on that USB port. So that's why I put that sticky, kind of just to insulate that for crashes. Alright, so got that buttoned up, and now I'll just grab some of my sticky goo. Yeah, I can't say enough about this stuff. It's just too easy to work with. Makes life so much simpler. So I think I'll put that in bind button out of the canopy in case we want to bind that up. So now we can stick that up inside here. And that's done. So that's ready to go together. Pretty simple little quadcopter to work on. And you know, really they're not really that expensive either. But they are a 2S. They are heavier. I don't think they get the flight time that you get out of some of these other ones, but I guess it all depends on the throttle. How much throttle do you have? So I'll get this buttoned all back together real quick, and we'll jump over into Betaflight, and we'll just make sure that all the settings are set properly. Because the last thing we want to do is leave you hanging. So let's jump over to Betaflight. I just want you to know that I have a fan over here, so when the VTX starts to warm up, I can turn a fan on. But we're going to go ahead and go to our receivers tab, and we're going to just make sure this works. So I have the quadcopter about 4 feet away from me, over by my fan. I'm turning on my Betafpv transmitter, and you can see auxiliary 5, which is channel 9, is our RSSI value. So if I cover my transmitter up, like stick it, pretty much put my girth across this thing, and okay, and then this is out in the open. So it's pretty decent. Quadcopter seems to be, now you can see throttle up, throttle down. We're going to yaw right, left, and then we're going to pitch back, pitch forward, and then roll left, roll right. So all of our sticks are correct. So throttle up, throttle down, yaw, back and forth, pitch, back, up, down, and then roll back and forth. So everything looks good there. Switch 1, okay, so that's my arming switch is auxiliary 1, and then I like to have auxiliary, I like to have my mode set up on the right hand, so I'm gonna make sure that 3-way switch aux 3 is my angle, horizon, and acro. Okay, so fortunately our throttle and our yaw and our roll and our pitch, all these AERT are correct. We don't have to change it. if these aren't correct in the right order, you need to change these until you find the combination that's correct, and then you need to save your changes. But for me, everything's working great. Let me turn my fan on. Alright, so we go ahead and go to modes, and then let's go ahead and open this up and make sure. So auxiliary 1. So when we flip our switch up, that's going to arm it, and that's correct. And then angle, when we have our switch down in the default position, it's already set an angle. Horizon is in the middle. And then over here is acro, which is default. If you don't set up these two, your quadcopter flies in acro all the time. Alright, we're going to go down to beeper. So I like to have my beeper on my left hand upper three-way switch. So I can go one up to the middle, that'll turn my beeper on. And then if I go all the way up on that right hand upper switch, I can turn on flip over and crash. So you can see here aux 2. So when I flip that all the way up, then I can arm it, and I can flip over when I crash. Turtle mode, flip over and crash, same thing. And then air mode, I like to have it on the bottom right hand switch. So I will flip that up to turn air mode on. So that's going to be nice to be able to flip that down when I'm flying around, small obstacles, like flying around in the house and bumping into stuff. I don't want air mode on. But if I'm wanting to do some acro out in the yard, or you're in a big warehouse area, you want to do some acro, you want to have your air mode on, because you're going to be chopping your throttle a lot. But I like to have that off when I'm just flying around in the basement. So everything looks good in here. Let's go ahead and hide these. I think that's all we needed. So we can go ahead and hide the ones we're not using. So let me go through this again. Alright, so we got our fan blowing here. We're going to just turn this off real quick and get it out of our way. Have our transmitter here. So this, just to give you an idea, so when we pull up on arming, so our quadcopter's armed and now we can fly it away. So that's the arming switch. You can see that in Betaflight. So that's changing. Just going to hit save real quick because I always forget to do that. And then here, if I go one up, that'll turn my beeper on. So then the quadcopter will beep in case it's hiding behind a box in a warehouse or whatever. Flip it all the way up and then arm it, and then I can use turtle mode. So that's beeper and turtle mode. And you can see in Betaflight that change. And then all the way down, so all these switches down are default. So I go one up, so it's angle right now, and then I go one up to horizon, and then another one to acro. And then right now the air mode is off, and then air mode is on. So that's kind of how that all works. So pretty cool. This thing's ready to fly. Let's go ahead and finish buttoning this up real quick. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get this buttoned up real quick. We have some antennas hanging out here, and then this is kind of catching on stuff. So for this, I like to just kind of wire tie him down. It does lose, you could argue all day that it's going to lose strength. It's not going to be as effective. Well, I'm not really planning on flying this, and I'm not going for range with this thing. So I'll go ahead and put a little black tape across the back of that and hold those antennas out of the way so they don't get chopped up, and then we'll go ahead and get this thing up in the air and fly it. You're not going to believe this. Okay, please don't send me any hate mail, but I messed up here. I was in a rush because the weather, just sunny day, and I had to hurry up and get out to the field. But I was rushing in such a way I forgot there's two things that I needed to show you. And because I didn't do this one thing, you see this AUX 5, which is also considered channel 9. So this receiver has a channel 9 is the RSSI. I forgot to set this AUX channel up. This should be AUX 5 and then save. And that way when you go over here in your setup screen, you can see the RSSI value. Let me put my transmitter, stick the transmitter down behind my back, and cover up the antennas on the quadcopter so you can see it's moving. Yeah, unfortunately I forgot to do that, so in the flight video the RSSI value in the goggles is 45% the whole time, but now you can see in the goggles here it's 100%, or right about then. And then also I forgot to mention in the configuration tab, you're going to want to have serial bus receiver and S bus here. Okay, so that was the two things that I missed on, and man, I was just rushing, trying to hurry up and get to the field because of sunshine, and the next, I don't know how many days is it just rain and snow and sleet and yuck, and so sorry about that. But hey, in the range test at least you know you can see how far it flew. So here that is. Alright, we're out at the field here. I got my favorite 3-incher, my duplicate favorite 3-incher, my Nemesis 3, and my Rex80. Now, mind you, it's about 40 degrees out right now. It's not ideal, but I'll try to get some flight footage. I got my Betafpv transmitter, so we'll get some flight footage of the Rex80. And then, of course, I have my main radio. So I'm going to go ahead and get the Rex80 hooked up, and we'll go ahead and take it for a spin, see how that new receiver's doing in there. Alright. Alright, so we go ahead and get the quadcopter armed. And I just want to let you know this, it's about 15 mile-an-hour winds and 36 degrees. So we're flying pretty much with the wind right here. Not quite with it, but batteries are a few years old, so freezing cold and being old lipos, they're hanging in there. But this gives you an idea. I apologize again for the 49% in the OSD here for range, but you know, just to get behind a building and the distance that we are, you know, gives you a good inclination of what the receiver's doing. And as far as I'm concerned, you know, the size of this area, I probably won't fly. I probably won't fly this Rex80 in any larger of an area. So, but it seems to be doing pretty good. I haven't, you know, with the wind fighting me, I haven't felt anything. Yeah, look at that. Now that's going with the wind. So I didn't really feel anything in the sticks, you know, as far as the receiver having any issue at all, holding that distance and behind all that stuff, and seemed to do pretty good. But yeah, you know, if this video was entertaining or you got something out of it, informational, whatever, you know, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you hated it, man, you give me a thumbs down. It all works. Enjoy the breeze.